It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and it's Walkabout Wednesday. Yay! It's been a minute, hasn't it, guys? We were up at the ranch, and before that, we were busy with projects, so you haven't been in the garden for a while. It is early September, the hottest month in San Diego, and the gutters over here are looking a little stressed. You can see that some of the plants, the leaves are all wrinkly and wilty. This little donkey tail here, it's a cutting, and the cutting wasn't making contact with the soil. So this poor thing has been sitting here basking in the heat with no contact for over a month. And it's really just living proof of how succulents will use what they've got in order to survive. So even though, this has, see it's starting, I just put this in the ground, made contact with the soil a few days ago, and look at all those little hair roots that are already starting to form and the little baby there. But this just goes to show you, how adaptable these plants are and how they do use the moisture in their stems and leaves to support themselves in times of stress. I've tucked this over top here because of the weight. I don't want it to fall on the ground, and it's rooting. So that's exciting. My goal with this string of pearls, this Rowley anise, is for it to touch the ground, and then I'm hoping that it'll root on the ground and throw energy from both directions. It's kind of an experiment, and I'm going to see if that won't help keep this plant more vital throughout the year, because I don't give these enough water for them to stay really full and beautiful in the hotter months, so they don't look so great. The little rubbertinctums are throwing off air roots. This is another self-preservation technique. The plant is looking for soil. It's also looking for moisture. So it's kind of a twofer. You can remove these little air roots if you don't like the way they look. I'm going to let it ride for now, but next month in October, there are going to be a lot of projects here in the garden. Believe me, a lot of things need done. The euphorbias, and isn't this amazing, this broad genre of plants? Euphorbia, euphorbia, euphorbia. No one does not look like the other, does it? But they are happy right now in September in Southern California. This one was completely devoid of leaves just a few months ago, and now it is absolutely thriving. I am so excited about that. Here's a couple of more euphorbias, also as different as night and day, doing superbly. Watch your cactus right now for scale. Those little white bumps on the flesh of the plant will probably not kill your cactus, but it will cause some aesthetic damage. Mine does not have any. This is a really great spot. This Pilosoceras loves it right here. It gets a breeze, not too much hot sun, and it's just as happy a camper as it can be. Oh, what's going on over here in my little collectibles table? I've got a lot of spider webs. I'm constantly working on those. This little arrangement here I really need to gut and start over with. Today your job is to go out in the garden and look with fresh eyes at your stuff. And if you've got an arrangement like this that is clearly a hot mess, maybe today would be a good day to rework it. Because there's not a whole lot you can do in the garden when it's this hot. But you can definitely rework some hot messes if you so choose. Look at the little bloom on this cactus. This cactus got scale on it a few months ago, and I treated it with some nuke, some chemical pesticide, and I got rid of, see, there's the damage that it incurred. And I got rid of the scale, but this is clearly struggling right now with needing nutrients. See how yellow it is? It's also thrown off a bloom, and a lot of the energy has gone to that bloom. So I need to feed this, and I don't even own cactus or succulent fertilizer, but I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm going to evolve and start doing some fertilization treatments from time to time and see what happens. Can't hurt, might help. The bougainvillea, how exciting. I was out here yesterday and it wasn't doing anything, and today the Brock's these blooms on the bougainvillea, these are actually leaves as well. And look at, they're starting to open. This is going to be an amazing time over the next few weeks of this bougainvillea just exploding with blossom. I recently, in a Walkabout Wednesday, I showed off this pot of succulents that I have underneath the bougainvillea. And despite the summer heat, these aeoniums look amazing. That's because this is protected and it doesn't get a whole lot of sun. I can't stress enough the importance of mitigating and minimizing the amount of sun and heat that your plants get in the hotter months. This Euphorbia millii variegate has been in this pot for years and is just the happiest of campers. Oh my gosh. This, thank you, Bentley. This agave, I'm blocking it, aren't I, with my shadow? But you can see that this sun glow has some sunburn on the leaves. Not at all deadly, but just not cute. So if you really want to keep your agaves pristine or any of your plants pristine, put a little screen.
Also, don't water, right?
Yeah, well, watering is something that we want to make sure the soil is truly dry before you water. Don't be fooled just because it's hot.
When the water gets stuck on the leaves and then the sun hits the leaves,
oh,
that cause sunburn.
Yeah, Hannah mentioned that sometimes if water droplets are on your leaves and the sun hits the water, it can exacerbate the burn.
It's not in the video.
Okay, Bentley's peeing. Thought you'd want to know that. Okay, so yes, the best way to approach collectibles in the hot months is to provide shade, to not water the overhead, and by all means, with all succulents, make sure the soil's dry before you apply more water to avoid the potential for rot. The motor died, the pump motor, so I have no waterfall right now, and I'm really, really loath to have Greg fix it because this looks so good. I will have to tear this up in order for Greg to get at the pond and, get in there and replace the pump, the motor, and I don't want to do it. During lockdown last year in the spring, remember when we tore this whole thing apart? It was a 2-day job, so I don't want to do it again right now. Everything is just looking so good, but and we're busy. We're coming into an extremely busy time with work. So I think I will just not worry about the waterfall right now and just provide water in my shallow little pond for the little lily pads and the grasses that I have in there. This is also the water fountain for the bees. Okay, against the back wall. Yeah, no, that's not great. Open space. Nobody's backyard is over there. The idea, my goal is to get the things from the bottom to grow up to meet the bougainvillea, which I want to keep it about this level. But I want to cover up the prism wall with soft plant material. So it's working.
Over here is doing well.
Yeah, so, slowly but surely, we're getting there. Things are growing and getting their legs. I did have to treat this bougainvillea for looper, those little green worms that drop all the black poo everywhere. So gross. But I used some of the Ortho home defense on that too. So got rid of those guys. But yeah, this is all looking good. My aloe hybrid, I have an aloe here and I've got one there that I just cut the blooms off of that are exactly the same plant. This one is clearly way more stressed because where both were put in here as cuttings, that one rooted really quickly and this one hasn't yet. So this is evidence of stress and I love it. I love the color. That doesn't bother me at all. Okay, and some of the alyssum is still hanging on, as is some of the brevifolia, although this little ground cover sedum, it's starting to, you know, stress and get kind of yellow. So I may go ahead and pull this out soon. It's like the alyssum in that it makes a comeback every year.
Your Aliatia is getting taller.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready for this? You know how I'm always saying every garden needs a phallus, and this is my phallic element in my garden. Well, look at this. My phallus is growing a phallus. I think this may be rewarding for some of you. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want to keep this pure. I just want the 3 uprights.
Can I tell you a story, Mother? You almost got rid of this one, this middle one.
Did I?
Because it was leaning this way, and I stuck it behind this one, and now it grows upright.
And you trained it?
I trained it. You were going to cut it off.
Oh, well, you know me.
Just like you just now did.
Cut off that little phallus because I don't want any outward protrusions here. I just want the...
You could have pushed it behind.
Hannah seems to think that I could have... I don't think so.
Yes.
Disagree. Okay, so the Graptivaria Fred Ives has also been looking a little rough this time of year. Remember, when you have this happening on the underside of your plants, the underleaves, that's nothing to be concerned about. See how yucky that looks and how yucky that looks, but how great the growth looks up topside? This is what you want to look at. Under here, these are just plants that are old and tired and ready to go. So, you know, don't worry about that, and you can remove them as a form of grooming, but I wouldn't reset as a cutting until cooler weather. All right, the topsy-turvy is looking pretty good considering the time of year. My Adolphi, Sedum Adolphis, and the California, that's a California Sunset. This is an Adolphi. They're so brilliant, the colors. It's also a really good time for Echeveria Lola. I've got a Lola in here, and I've got a Lola in the fountain too that is looking really, really exceptional right now. What else? What else? What else? Oh, I forgot to show you guys on Walkabout Wednesday the little Echeveria. I know we looked at it in another video recently, but this is kind of a Walkabout Wednesday thing. And it's rooted and doing really well in the spot where the gopher kept eating the aloe. So that was a really interesting experiment. I didn't expect that to work, but I'm really glad it did. Here's the little Lola in the fountain. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty. And these little Morganianum burrowtails that I popped in here as cuttings a few months ago are rooted now, and look at this spectacular new growth. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this plant. You know, I'm always looking for tougher things to put in the fountain. The wisteria decided to grow and create a natural umbrella this year, which delighted me. But also I'm looking for things that aren't so sensitive. So the calico kitten and the string of pearls, you know, I just cut it back really, really hard. And it is making small comebacks. I can see little strings of pearl, little calico kittens in areas around it. And I'll allow it, you know, as long as it looks good. Jury is still out for me with this freaking lemon tree. Look at it. It's all yellow again. I have fed it as organically as per package directions. I've been as consistent as I can possibly be with the watering. You know, I'm kind of sentimental because this was one of the first plants that I ever tried to do anything with as a new gardener about 15 years ago or so. And it's been with me all these years, and I'm kind of, you know, I don't want to get rid of it, but I also realize that I don't want to keep spending all kinds of time watering and feeding and fussing if it's not going to produce. And this is prime real estate. Think of the succulents that I could put in this giant pot. I'm thinking about it. All right. And here's another project area for the fall. When things cool down, I'm going to be moving this attenuata variegated. This is one of the babies from my gorgeous mom. It's getting too big. See how this is starting to lose its luster. My beautiful raised bed tapestry. It was so gorgeous when I planted it. And now everything is just kind of looking a little overgrown and, you know, kind of ratty. So this is going to be really fun. I'll pull everything out of here with you guys next month except for my crested sunburst. I'm not pulling this out. I'll be working on cleaning it up a bit, but I'll add some more soil. I'll pull out all the rock. We'll tighten up all the plants, reset some of them, add some new ones, and just re-top dress, and it'll just look fantastic. The little imbricata, Echeveria imbricata, this is one of my favorites. I love this hen and chick, and it's just weird, though, what it's doing. This plant is so prolific about pupping out around the base of the mom, and I don't understand why I have all of this trunk on this imbricata and why she hasn't thrown off more babies, but I continue to just watch and wait on that one. And the trash can area, looking lively. My gorgeous totem cactus and my Susan Ock rope pot is just, every time I turn the corner, I am so in awe of this. I'm so appreciative of this gift from Susan, and it's just gracing the space so beautifully. These gutters look actually, I think, a little better than the shadier ones right now, which is strange. I would have thought that these getting more sun would look a little tougher and rougher, but they look pretty good. God, look at this California sunset. That's impossible, that color. How gorgeous is that? Yeah, this Morganianum obviously hasn't rooted yet either, and it's looking a little rough, but that will bounce back. And this little Aeonium kiwi is throwing off air roots too, looking for additional soil or moisture. And the tight notice getting a new leaf. Look at that. I'm going to enjoy this in here for as long as I can, and when it gets too big, I'll give it to a project. The pink jasmine pot that was over in Bentley's toilet area is doing very, very well here, and you can see it's already starting to climb up the trellis, and eventually it'll cover this whole thing, which makes me extremely happy. Here's yet another Euphorbia that is thriving in the garden as well. So as I was walking around the corner, look what showed up at the front door, a box. I am so excited. I have been so eager to share our new swaggy drip offering with you guys. I've got a new design to put up in the store, and these are the samples. Now it's going to take about 3 days to go live in the spring store, but are you ready? It's like I always say, right? We were just talking about this too, weren't we, in the back? Here's another one. This is the ladies' shirt. Here. I think, yeah, this is the ladies. So for those of you that want to wear your phallus shirt out, you could do the white. And this, I think, is the unisex. Yeah, this is a unisex, and this is a unisex small. I think that it's not quite as scoopy in the neck, right? So this is the one that you work in. So, yes, can't wait to share these with you in the shop. How much fun is that? Okay, that was just kismet, that timing. Oh, on to a sober note. Yeah, these flanking pots. This one, freaking spectacular. Could I ask for more? This Echeveria Sahara, even the Fred Ives, this really, really full sticks on fire. So gorgeous. And then this one that, you know, these both looked pretty much the same when I reworked them, but this one has not thrived.
I have an idea.
Hannah has an idea. Thank God, because I'm out of ideas.
What you should do is plant them up with the exact same plants at the exact same time and put them back on their podiums and see what happens.
Okay.
Because every time you do the video, you have to repeat what I'm saying. They can't hear me.
Hannah says to redo them, not now, but when the weather's cooler, like next month,
Pull
with
everything out.
pull everything out, all new plants.
Same plant.
and just completely copy in both pots, and then see what happens, because I don't always plant these at exactly the same time, and as is evidenced by the growth or lack thereof of this pot versus this one. This is really, really bugging me, but we'll get it straightened out. We'll figure it out together. We have also this Hercules, you know, more growing pains here. Not only is it really root bound and is screaming at me, please put me in the ground, but I also have been battling aloe mite on this plant. I had sprayed it. You know, here, see these little galls right here? It's very, very minor, but it's starting to spread. See, look at that. Right there.
Don't touch it.
Oh, I'll wash my hands. And there's some right there. So, I think, I don't know. I need to make some decisions with this plant. I'm going to try to take an X-Acto knife and remove the injured parts, spray it again, and then start really thinking about a place where I can plant it in the ground. I just recently moved that Marlothii. That aloe was in a smaller pot. I just moved it to a bigger pot in the hopes that it would open up and be happy. And it is starting to open a little bit. So that's extremely positive. My aloe dichotoma is looking good. And remember, aloe mite spreads from amongst aloes. So I definitely don't want aloe mite on these other beautiful specimen plants that I have.
So why don't you just get rid of it?
Well, I don't think that the mite is bad enough that I have to get rid of it. I think that there's still hope that I can cull it. I'm not ready to quit on it, but I do need to get it into isolation. It's a beautiful Hercules. I hate to throw it out. So we'll see. We'll try with it a little longer. Okay, then down here, everything is looking as it should. My barrel cactus, if you've got barrel cactus and it's summer where you live, it would be nice to give them a little water if you haven't this summer. They don't hate it, and you know, you can rinse off all of the bugs and the dust and give them a little drink of water. The aeoniums, when I came back from the ranch, I watered the aeoniums. I don't know how many more years this stand is going to survive. It looks pretty rough.
It's only the time of year.
Hannah says
every
it's
time of year, and then it fluffs up again.
I know. My love-hate. I always complain about how they look in the summer, and they look so ratty, and there's all those leaves under the ground, and just blech. But I like the way it kind of softens up all of these barrels. And see, I'm not a total purist. This Aluaudia procera, I have allowed, you know, all of the branching arms down here. I think it looks very undersea. You can see here these brown leaves. This is sunburn. That's what sunburn looks like on Aluaudias. And I have heard from people that I really trust and respect that do fertilize, that if you throw some fertilizer on your Aluaudia in the warmer months and water deeply, it'll leaf out like nobody's business. So yeah, that's, and our little flanks are looking super. Remember, we redid those recently, and I wanted something that was going to be more sustainable and wouldn't require me to have to keep reinventing it every 6 months. So these are both looking good. I'm quite happy with those. And yeah, so that's about it. Tomorrow we will be in Vista doing a rehab on a vertical and redoing some pots and just basically going in and green teaming it. So we'll take you along on that journey. Remember, get out today and rehab something that looks like crap. Send me your pictures of the work that you've done to Instagram at Laura Loves Succulents. I really, really enjoy seeing what you guys have going on. Thank you so much for following, for supporting. Keep an eye in the spring shop for our Every Garden Needs a Phallus merchandise, and have a fantastic day. Bye, guys.